Thank you for joining the July 11th, 2019 VOLTHA call. Our main plan for today is to do some sprint planning for Sprint 4 of VOLTHA 2.1. And just a reminder to everyone that the VOLTHA meetings are public and recorded, and we do post them to YouTube after the meetings. So please be mindful of that during discussions and should we have any presentations today as well. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started. And let me check who I've got on the bridge. Okay, so at the moment, kind of following what we talked about in the March meeting, I believe it was, continuing with a plan for a 3-week sprint unless I hear otherwise from the community. So right now that puts that at Sprint 4 would be July 15th through August 2nd would be our targeted duration. And then also a reminder while we're talking about duration that Sprint 3 is targeted to complete this Friday, which is tomorrow at the end of the day. Okay, so we do have the placeholder that was put together for Sprint 4, and I did see that people did start mapping some items over, so thank you for doing that. And then I wanted to talk with the group about what's our best approach for planning for Sprint 4. So I believe we will still have a fair number of items carry over from Sprint 3. I think we're expecting some of the Golang OLT work to close out at the end of this sprint. So some of those will close, but I think we'll still have a number of issues that will carry over to Sprint 3. I do have mostly, I hope I caught them, the defects prioritized to the top of the backlog in descending order for the priority with which they were open. So we've got our high ones up front and then mediums. There may be a few things mixed in here and there. I've tried to get it roughly organized, but they are not prioritized within a category. So for example, all of the medium priority defects, there's no strict prioritization applied within that grouping. It's just getting them grouped with like priorities on the screen. So David, I think I saw you on the bridge. I wanted to check with you since you're working and kicking off the stabilization brigade. Are those items, I think lots of these are targeted for the stabilization with a stabilization label. Do we need to, is it best to just leave those in the backlog and as the stabilization brigade ramps up, then pull those in one at a time? Or is it better for us to pre-plan some of the high priority items that we'd like to focus on? Do you have a view?
I mean, if there are people available to take the high priority items with the stabilization label, that would be great. Okay. I think it's just a matter of resources right now.
Okay. So why don't I then just take the first two and see if we've got anyone on the bridge that thought they could take a look at those. And actually, we do have an assignee. Oh, good. Oh, from Sienna. Okay. Claudine, I don't believe we have Claudine on the call. Does anyone from Sienna know if Claudine is planning to work on this item in Sprint 4?
Yes, she is planning to.
Okay, then let me go ahead and move that one up. Thank you, David. Sean, you're on mute.
David, Claudine is the new member from the Sienna team. The first time I see her name popping out.
Well, she's not a new member of the team, but this will probably be her first work on VOLTHA, yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, and then the next of the high priority defects we have was related to OF agent, and that was one of our newer tickets. Let me see, do we have anyone on the bridge who thought they might want to take a look at this item? If so, we'll assign it and map it into the sprint. Do we have any volunteers? Okay, I'm not hearing any, so I think, David, then I will go ahead and leave those in the backlog, because I know we have quite a few other issues that will still stay open. So we do have a fairly significant amount of defects still open in the backlog. There are some also that had been listed with a future label or unlabeled. Those are still further down. I've only pulled up the ones that we'd identified with a 2.1 label to the top. So if you see items,
defects be future? Defects are always against existing code. So I don't understand how they'd be future.
Okay. The future was when we were planning to work on them, and if they were low priority, we thought we had too much to cover in the current items. I'm trying to find an example here. Or there are some for 1.7. I've left those further back since most folks are working off of the 2.x. And we have a new one I haven't pulled up here. Well, I'm not finding a good example of what I was talking about.
Okay. I think I get what you're trying to get at, though.
It's
okay.
We had a number of low priority. Maybe we've cleaned them up at this point and pulled them in. But when we've done, like when I worked with Sean, do some prioritization, ones that wouldn't block things from going into production when we were looking at 2.0, for example, things like that.
Okay. All right, thanks.
And we have a number also that are unlabeled. You'll see a batch here. I see a batch that are unlabeled. So we may need to take a look and see if we want to assign those to 2.1 or not. Some, I think, may end up getting closed out. In any case, this one, this was Chips. I thought it was David. And this is this one's for ONU device adapters. So that'd be up to the vendors to choose to work on that for their own device, I believe. Let me scroll back up to the top. Okay, here we have some examples of ones that at one point were listed as future. We had IGMP ones because we were at that time not working on the multicast work for 2.0, so we moved that to future. That was one example. But we may need to revisit if there are things that need to be pulled up, because I know, do we have anyone from Netsia on? There are items that I think have been being worked on for multicast, and so may want to just make sure we do some cleanup once that work is complete and brought over into 2.1. So if there's a better, more useful way to reorganize this, please let me know, and I can start moving some things around to try and make it easier to work with. But for now, I've pulled all the 2.1s up to the top as I see them. Okay. And we've got let's see, who else do we have on the bridge? I don't think is Shad on the bridge. I don't see Shad. And Girish, I see you on the bridge. I wanted to ask if there's something we need to talk about with the group. I saw an email related to some -1s from Jenkins coming in due to some instability that's not related to the code that we're trying to get merged in. Is that something we need to address on this call with the group, do you think?
Yes. So on VOLTHA 1.x, I always see that the ATRAN UT keeps crashing, and the 8 test is always unstable. I recheck, and I mean, I issue the comment, and every time it's the same problem, and it has nothing to do with my changes.
Okay.
So, how, if a test is unstable, is there something we can just remove it, or because I think a test, I have not seen ATRAN on this call. I think ATRAN is the one put the A test together, right? So, so is there something can be if it is not fixed, is that something we can remove?
No, I thought Atran put the UT and I'm not sure who. Atran has its own UT for its adapter, and that keeps crashing.
Jules, that's a test. It's not your the NorthForge's code, right?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
A test? Yeah, that is ours.
That is yours. Okay. Oh, unit test is Atran. Okay.
Yeah, unit test is not ours.
But Jill, Girish, you said that some part of A test has been failing.
Yeah, when I check the console, it's for 1.x, VOLTHA 1.x, so it says that DHCP IP address not assigned. I think that's the error I see.
Yes, and I was supposed to, yeah, so Kailash did mention that to me to have a look. I haven't yet had a chance to, okay, maybe I should have a look at that. Because I had looked at the different, instances of the runs of the jobs, and I thought that had been fixed. It seemed that, things were running fine again, but I don't know.
I could just send you those reviews, and if you could help, it will be great.
Yes. Okay. I can do that.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Jill. Much appreciated.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Girish, so thank you for getting, once you get that information over to Jill, hopefully we can get that issue resolved for you, since I know it's causing some issues with the work that you're trying to get merged in. Any other, was there a comment?
I said thank you.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Are there any other issues we need to bring up related to the current sprint work going on, since that's closing tomorrow and we've got the community gathered here?
Just one question, and Girish, again, back to you. Is the 1380? I think the ProtoGo that already Jenkins has a +1 now, so you have a +1.
Yes, thanks to William. He figured out some problems with the way the VOLTHA protos were built. Mm-hmm. And once that was corrected, it has a +1 now. Yeah. I could merge it if no one has any comments on that.
Oh, you have the +2 yourself?
Yes, I did. So there was an older version of this review where Ken had already, approved the changes. But for some reason, I had to abandon that and create a whole new review because someone else. Anyway, reasons aside, so Ken has approved the original changes. So if no one has any other comments, I could merge this.
Okay. I did send an email to William, see whether he can also give a +2.
Okay, sure. That will be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So once this is done, then the other two you need to be rebased, right?
Yes. So the next one that should go in is the VOLTHA Go core changes, and once that goes in, then the VOLTHA adapter changes has to go last.
Okay. So there are a series of events potentially. Okay. With these series of events, do you think these three can be resolved by end of sprint?
Yeah, subject to approval reviews and approvals. Yes.
Okay.
If there's only partial, I guess, is the build going to be broken until they are all committed once one is committed and merged? In other words, are things going to still be operational if I do the OLT yes, but not the core? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
For instance, if I do the ones at the adapter but not at the core, will the system function? Or do I have to, or do all these things have to be merged to get the system back to the functional?
Yeah. If the VOLTHA Go changes are there, it doesn't break anything at the adapter. Or in other words, if only the VOLTHA adapter, you cannot have just the adapter changes because they are dependent on some of the libraries that are present in the core.
Okay, so core has to go first, and things will work
Yes.
until the adapters are done. All right, thank you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and I'm looking at the, what did I pull up here? The OLT adapter one. So I think the folks we've got on that could do +2s, we've got Matt and Zach and Ken, I think are the ones I saw there. So it's going to be making sure we have someone available for the review and the merge. And then let's check who we've got who can give +2s on the other. This is probably the core. Is this? Let's see. Here we go. No, this is the OpenOLT Go one. This one, who do we have here?
Girish has
okay, Girish, you've got +2 on that one, so it's only the other one. Okay, so we have one
Yes,
that we'll have to sure we get
help
covered.
with,
Okay,
Go.
great. Okay, let me go back to the sprint planning. So I think at this point, we still have a lot of work ongoing at the moment. And so we don't have a kind of clear delineation between when different scope topics are going to come in for work. So I think we'll keep the in-progress work going. And as people are available, we'll bring in some of these other items as well, get the other scope items pulled in. So I think that leaves us really with right now for sprint planning. Let me get back to the right screen. Is we'll have the items that carry over from sprint 3. We have items that people are identifying that they do plan to work on, and those are being pulled in. And at this point, I think the rest we leave in the backlog for the brigades to map in as they have resources to work on the various topics. So the stabilization brigade, and then we've got some other brigades going on as well, like the BAL 3.0 brigade and other items. Are there any other approaches you think we need to take with Sprint 4 or any other changes in how we handle things to make this more effective and to coordinate cleanly with the brigades as needed? Any feedback from the group? Okay, I think we're going to have a short call today then. Okay, so David, after talking to you, we'll follow your suggestion to leave these items in the backlog for the defects until people are available to pull them in. And anyone on the bridge or folks at your companies, of course, as well, everyone is welcome to assign items themselves and pull them into the sprint as you're available to work on items. So I think that's really probably going to cover it for today for the sprint planning. I think until we have some of the ongoing work closed out, it's a little hard to get anything else started up with the resources we have available at the moment. Any comments from the group or other topics that we need to bring up while we have everyone on the call? Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so I think I'll give everyone some time back today. And next week, Sean is going to be hosting the meetings. So he'll get the sprint closed out and then sprint 4 kicked off next week for everyone. And then let me go to the agenda topic again for a moment. We do have some future items. We talked about demos and some lifecycle management discussion for the adapters and other items. If you have topics that you'd like to have scheduled in, for example, for next Thursday, let me know today or else let Sean know between now and next week's call on Thursday. And there may be some time to do that. Okay, Sean, do you have anything to add?
Nope. Have a good vacation.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. So, okay, I think we'll give everyone time back. I'll go ahead and close out today's call. And thank you for attending and for your assistance, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks.
Okay, bye.